Okay. This week's readings were on called "Care for Myself," and um, I don't know. While I enjoyed the first two, the last one, the Foucault article was I didn't see the real connection with the first two. So the first one, let's see, why service learning is bad. Um, so this was an article about, it talked about how more and more colleges, like over 50% of colleges, have a service learning component to their curriculum, to their mission. And more high schools and even middle schools are starting to integrate service learning into their teaching. But there was a lot of cautions and warnings about how integrating that into curriculum can be dangerous for a couple of reasons. The first one is something that I've always thought to be true, and I've waffled on it a little bit in recent years as I've gotten more involved in service learning. But I always felt like altruism could not be um, like taught. Like it has to come from inside, and it can be grown, and you can be given opportunities and ways to be effective with your service, but you can't make someone be servant minded, if that makes sense. And so that was one of the points. And but the bigger point out of that is that by using school as a petri dish for service learning, um, you really there's a big danger of becoming the great white savior. You're the one that identifies these problems and then comes up with these solutions, and you rush in, and you have resources, and you have the answers. You're saving people from themselves. Kind of reminds me of Kipling's White Man's Burden in India. Um, so I can definitely see that as a clear concern when it comes to service learning. That said, I think that our current society has gotten away from um, the social, um, historical ties to communal care. And this is a way to bring us back to that place. Um, so yeah, I still agree with components of both. The second article was, do something for your soul, go to Haiti. This is a really short chapter of a book, um, and it really tore my heart. It was a woman, a translator, who was going with a group of Episcopal missionaries to Haiti, and my parents left the Catholic Church and went to the Episcopal Church, and so I'm pretty familiar with how mission focused they are. So this group of missionaries was going to Haiti. It's the poorest country, one of the poorest countries in the world, poorest in the Western Hemisphere. And the translator, that was her native land. She spoke Creole, and that's why she was going. And she was encouraged to go because it would be good for her soul. And um, so she went, and she saw the way that the missionaries were living while they were there, how they treated the locals. They lived in the priest's posh house and had running water, and had nice food, and treated the locals like their servants or less, and yet they were there to be missionaries and save them for God, and teach them to read, and bring them clothes and whatever. So the concept of being altruistic for a Christian organization definitely can be problematic. The last article was Foucault, The Ethic of Care for the Self as Practice of Freedom. I've read some Foucault. This was an interview, and it was really hard to read. It really was. I conceptually, I grasped a good chunk of it, but definitely not all of it. It was kind of all over the place, and it was hard to see some of the connection with the first two readings. So what it came down to basically is that self-care is an integral part of freedom. And he went into all kinds of different examples, different kinds of relationships. Now, I do agree, and this is as a mother of 7 children, that you are not the best mother, wife, daughter, friend, fill in the blank with the title, that you can be if you don't take care of yourself. And I learned that to the detriment of myself. I suck at self-care. Lots of parents do. It's very easy to lose yourself in the people that you care for. And societally, we're made to feel that when we care for ourselves, wherever it is on the list, first or otherwise, it's selfish. And that selfish is a bad thing. Instead of being a good thing. I mean, and everybody's heard the adage of the airline attendant who says, if something happens, put the mask on yourself first so you can help other people. But we say it to others, we don't practice it. So I see how that's a component of freedom. It was harder to tie it to the first two readings, except that the danger of focusing on yourself and saying that it's altruistic or service based, you can argue that is self-care, and it's not selfish. So that's my wrap up of this week's readings, and I really liked the first two. I really didn't like the Foucault, but I could at least appreciate it. Thanks.